Based on option number 11, and that is apparently what we have in front of us today. And Mr. Abart, are there some things you wanted to mention about this, as well as I think you have been sending us responses to the various questions, and you might want to bring up some of those. Go ahead.
Okay. This is Frank Abart, Public Works. Essentially, what you have in front of you, I've passed out as the copy of exactly what was submitted, only this has page numbers at the bottom. They're written on it so that we can all stay coordinated if there are questions or things that somebody wants to point out. And yes, there's a variety of things that were sent out as far as clarifications, definitions for the administrative allocation expenses. And I've tried to keep all of that on the website as well. I did remember this morning that the information I sent you related to the bridge stuff has not been posted to our website yet, but it's likely that's been forwarded out to folks anyway, but we'll try to get it up before the end of today if possible. So beyond that, one of the questions that was asked was, well, if we didn't raise any rates, how would that affect things, or how could we operate? And it appears that we could probably operate it, be an 8-hour daily activity. It'd probably be divided up into a 4-hour block or so in the morning and a 4-hour block in the afternoon.
Well, we'll start that next Monday?
No, let's please not.
Okay.
It would take a lot more coordination than next Monday to get that all to work, but that's assuming a lot of things in there. So, but we did the best we could to assume those things, and we think it's possible at this point, but there's a lot of characteristics that we don't know that might happen and might not as well. So beyond that, I didn't get a whole lot of questions that I didn't already have. So if there's something that we missed or we need to answer yet, please let me know. I'll do my best between Peggy and I to answer that. If we can't, we'll get it back to you in an email. And this is kind of where we are today. This is what you asked me to bring forth. There's certainly a lot of things that can be discussed, changed, altered. We're by no means tied to any of this, as you well know.
Well, Jill, do you know off the top of your head what the process is now? I think this has to have a hearing. Well, no, it doesn't have to have a hearing. Do we bring it in front of the whole council, or? Okay, so this is more like a work session where we're working on the document to have a hearing, and this is sort of a continuation of a week ago, and
it's exactly a continuation. Changes. Yeah, it's my understanding that something would have to be developed and finalized by us from your direction to be formally introduced.
Okay.
And once it's introduced, it's 2 weeks later before you can have the first public hearing on it. Right. At which time you may or may not take action.
Okay. Well, I think I would start by eliminating item number 6 and item number.
Are you talking on page 8?
Yeah. Yes, and on page 9, item number 15. And just let the needs-based folks buy the round trip. I mean, the 25 round trip like everybody else at the same price. So I guess I'll make a motion. I have no idea where the other council members are on this, but my motion is to eliminate the special fare for needs-based on line 6 and on line 15, pages 8 and 9. That's the motion to amend. Council Member Nelson.
Is your reasoning on the motion because of the testimony we received in regards to the administration of those funds is becoming more difficult? We got that from the
partially. Yeah, partially. It's administratively difficult. The other thing is I've just gotten a ton of feedback from folks that are feeling like that is the place to make up the difference. That there may be, well, some folks speculate there may be abuse of the system. I'm not claiming that or using that as a primary reason, but it's between the administrative challenges, the fact that the ferry system has to become somewhat solvent. It will always be subsidized, but more solvent than it is today. The idea that we're have a system out there that's based on people's ability to pay rather than their choice of where they choose to live. I think it's just a couple of years ago, I called it a somewhat misguided attempt at social engineering, and I still feel that way. I think that what we need to do instead is say, here's the cost, here's the real cost of compensating for the regular use of the ferry if you live on an island. And I think, people have to face up to that aspect of it. Councilmember Mann?
Yeah. Just sort of backing up a level, if we change the rate structure now and then we have a mediation, who knows how that turns out, hopefully for the best, what is our plan then? Then based on that, we come up with a more permanent solution, and this is only meant to be interim, basically? And I'm asking,
I don't have the
council members or Frank.
Yeah, Frank would have to respond to that. Frank, the question is, if this assumes a $200,000 increase and we end up with something more than that, what would happen? Would you come back and revisit this issue if it looked like it was enough of a change that I don't want to put words in your mouth. I assume you'd come back to
Depending on
this.
what it is, yeah. I mean,
Is the intent that this will be interim until we have a final solution? Because there's a lot of other stuff that we've been talking about. We've been getting feedback from people on Lummi Island about having a taxing district, having, we still got to deal with a new ferry issue. I mean, there's a lot of other issues going on besides just making up our lack of funds. So I would like to look at this as more of an interim solution that will buy us some time to come back and take a more comprehensive look at everything relating to the ferry.
certainly if the desire of the council is to make it interim, that would be a choice you guys could make, you folks. But all I did was submit the targets that I needed to be, that I knew about. And I know about the 200,000. And so I'm not going to guess whether it's going to be higher or less.
Right.
I know that for a fact. That's why it's included in here as part of the target value that we're trying to hit for revenue. Whether, if it comes in and it's twice that or whatever it might be, yeah, we're going to have to reassess where we are financially, and we might be back or we might not. I can't tell you for sure.
Right.
Councilmember Weimer is here for the record, and Councilmember Weimer, the motion on the floor is to remove items on pages 8 and 9, items 6 and items 15. Yes, Councilmember Mann.
So I would say that most of the feedback we've gotten from Plick and from other people and just emails and phone calls that I've gotten have urged us to, or have urged me anyway, I don't know if you guys have gotten other stuff that I haven't, but to look at this as interim and take up the more comprehensive discussion after we have an agreement in place with the Lummies and have a chance to really hash this out, because obviously there's a lot of unanswered questions. So coming at it from that perspective and sort of sending the message to the Lummi Islanders and to the Lummi Nation that, we're just looking to make up temporarily this $200,000 shortfall we've got because of our current interim agreement with the Lummi Nation, and figure out how to make up that deficit. So getting into the details and really altering stuff like the needs-based rides and other things, I think might actually be premature. I know I'm changing my tune from what I said a while ago. But I am now more leaning towards, I think Fred sent us a letter and gave us a presentation that was along the lines of just make a $2 surcharge across the board on everything and leave it all the same, call it interim, and